Hey everyone, welcome back to another predictions and breakdown video where we are going to be analyzing the stacked card that is UFC 314, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes, starting from the first fight on the card in the early prelims and ending on the main event, as well as going through and predicting my fight card awards. So without further ado, let's get into the first fight of this stacked card, being Nora Cornolle versus Hailey Cowan. Now this one's going to be pretty short and sweet, to be honest, because I look at Cowan and her fight against Jamie Lynn Hoare was pretty slow. Didn't really see much when it came to the striking there. She's big. She's definitely like a physical presence in the octagon. She doesn't have the grappling realistically though, and I don't think it's enough to get Cornolle out of there. And that leaves us on the feet, and that's where Nora Cornolle is just simply better. She's a better kickboxer. She's got better Muay Thai. She is much better at dictating the pace at range. She trains with Leon Edwards out of Birmingham as well. She's just got the striking edge here. And ultimately, with that strike accuracy as well, I just don't see Cowan having a good time here. I think that she's going to get outstruck. And just being with Cornolle just being more accurate anyway, I just think that she's going to have a field day on the feet, and I think it's going to actually lead to a KO TKO finish around the second round in this one, to be honest. Moving up to Marco Tulio versus Tresean Gore, with Gore looking reinvigorated at the moment. I mean, getting back-to-back guillotines against Josh Fremd and Trincoli as well. He has been looking good, especially when it comes to the ground game. Now, on the feet, he does have tools there, but he's not like the greatest with combinations overall. He's got good accuracy, but when it comes to actually stringing things together and making things count, he is not the best. And when we look at Marco Tulio, the guy is 9-1 with KOs. He is just ultimately of a higher level. He's got back-to-back KOs. He throws at a much higher output as well. And he is defensively sound, as like pretty much on the ground, on the feet, anywhere, and he's on a 9-fight win streak. I mean, Gore is good at the moment. Like, he's looking good, but this is just too much of a leap for him. If he can get it to the ground and consistently out-muscle Tulio there, which we're really just grasping at straws here. That's the only way I can see him possibly getting this done. But otherwise, Tulio, honestly, he's going to be getting the KO TKO finish in this one here. I think he just pieces the combinations together. He has more impact on his shots on the feet, and he's strong himself anyway to deal with that wrestling overall. So I believe that he's honestly probably going to be getting the first or second round KO TKO in this one. Moving up to Michal Oleksiejczuk versus Sedriques Dumas. Now, this is definitely a tough fight because I feel like these guys are of each other's skill levels, realistically. I mean, they're both not ranking level, but they are both decent outside the rankings. And that's especially for Oleksiejczuk because his UFC stint in recent times has been absolutely ridiculous. He has fought guys like KO Baralho. He's KO'd Andrew Cowan, who isn't ranked now, but I mean, in welterweight, he is tearing up at the moment. He's fought Michel Pereira. He's fought Kevin Holland. He's fought, most recently, he's fought Shara Bullet as well. And then we look at Dumas on the other side. I think aside from his Nursultan Ruziboyev KO loss, he has looked very good, but even when it comes to that loss to Ruziboyev, that was controversial in itself because he got eye poked and then he got finished. So yeah, there's a bit of shadowing over that one, but yeah, ultimately I think both of these guys do have promise regardless, but I don't think they're ranking worthy, at least yet anyway. Now, Sedriques Dumas, when we look at him, he's got the reach advantage. He's got 5 inches of reach, and he is good with his straight strikes, and he is more accurate overall. But the pure experience of Michal is something that I just can't ignore. When it comes to him fighting guys outside the rankings, he's 7-3 at the moment. And the guys that he's lost to are just better than Sedriques Dumas, realistically. And he's fought bigger guys because he's fought as a light heavyweight before. And Dumas, I think he probably will struggle with the aggression of Oleksiejczuk through 15 minutes. And Oleksiejczuk can crack. I mean, 14-1 with KOs. Now, if Dumas can get this to the ground successfully, he does have the possibility of submitting him. He's 2-1 with subs. But I just don't really feel like, through the experience contrast that we have here, I'm just going to find it difficult to not go with Oleksiejczuk in this one, especially with the guys that he's just fought and now going against Dumas. I think he's going to be able to find the KO TKO win in this one. He's just more gritty. He's definitely more dangerous in close range, and he can close that distance. And he's durable as hell. So I think that he is going to find that opportunity to get inside Dumas's range, and he's going to finish this fight probably in the second round. Now, moving up the card to Sumudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. Now, both of these guys obviously in the flyweight division, which is looking absolutely fucking incredible at the moment. And I think both of these guys realistically are promising, because Sumudaerji, he already has experience in the UFC. He's fought good fighters and has looked good in performances like against Charles Johnson. But then we got Mitch Raposo on the other side, not as experienced, but he's definitely very fast. He's got tools pretty much everywhere, and he's only lost to good opposition. He's lost to Jake Hadley and Andre Lima by a split decision, who is my top prospect in the division easily, which I explain in my top prospects in every division video, which I definitely recommend you check that one out. And Raposo definitely likes to apply consistent pressure, and he is obviously well-rounded, as I said, but the experience difference and especially the size difference is going to be an issue here, because Sumudaerji, I mean, if he can really stop the takedowns of Mitch Raposo, which he does have decent takedown defense, that's going to be a problem, because he clearly has the advantages on the feet here. He throws at twice the output, is much more accurate, absorbs less strikes overall, and has a 7.5-inch reach advantage. And I mean, I know he's on a 3-fight loss streak, but that's even more to the point where he's going to be serious about this fight. And I really liked what I saw against Charles Johnson in his last fight. He was keeping up with the pace of Charles, able to land effectively as well, and really just get gritty and actually, you know, put Charles Johnson's bloody win streak at threat in that fight, until obviously more so the end of that fight where Charles started really pulling through. But yeah, Sumudaerji still, regardless, in that fight, you take Charles Johnson out, you put that performance in against Mitch Raposo, he's winning that fight, and he is going to be winning this fight by a unanimous decision. I think he's just going to be able to outpoint Raposo. He's realistically just as fast, and as long as he can stop those takedowns, which he has improved with takedown defense, I'm liking him more in this fight. Moving up the card to Julian Erosa versus Darren the Damage. I love Darren so much, honestly. He's always entertaining, and he looked great against TJ Brown and Pineda in his last 2 fights. He just puts on a great, consistent pace, especially for 40 years old, especially with the wrestling he has, and he loves to make fights dirty. But the problem is, if he can't get the KO here effectively, I mean, Julian Erosa has the kryptonite to that wrestling game that he has. I mean, he's got submissions from literally anywhere. He is ridiculously good with his ground game. And if it does stay on the feet, don't get me wrong, Elkins does have that chance to crack that glass chin that Erosa has. But Erosa has just been looking more impressive recently against better opposition, especially taking out C-Rod in his last fight. I mean, he honestly just out-transitioned him effectively so well. Like, if this gets to the ground, Elkins just can't, he's just not going to be able to compete with it. He can't use that wrestling. And granted, Elkins has only been submitted once in his career by Charles Oliveira in Charles's debut, but I mean, Julian Erosa is seriously up there with his submission game, 14-0 with submissions. And Julian Erosa has a good career before that anyway. I mean, he's knocked out Nate the Train, and he handed Sean Woodson his only loss, which we'll talk about him further up the card. And Erosa's 5 years younger. And if this fight goes any later than round 2, I mean, I'm preferring Erosa anyway. I think I'm preferring him pretty much rounds 1, 2, or 3. It just depends if Elkins can seriously get off that really fast striking in the first round and just go crazy and suffocate him. But yeah, I just don't see that working out for him. I think Erosa's just got the tools, and on the feet, he's got the length as well. He's got a 3.5-inch reach advantage. He's got good straight shots. He's got a good teep kick. He's got a good jab to keep Elkins at bay. And then if Elkins gets frustrated, tries for the takedown, he's getting submitted. And that's where I see it happening within rounds 2 or 3. Now moving up to our change of the guard fight, we've got Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. And just like Elkins, Miller, one of the OG legends, but I see him getting finished just the same. I mean, Hooper has just been looking ridiculous since losing to Steve Garcia 5 fights ago. He has not lost since, and he absolutely ragdolled the shit out of Vyacheslav Borshev and outstruck him as a pro former kickboxer. Like, his weight translation to lightweight at this age, he's just ridiculous. He's just filled out so much. His frame, he's so strong. He's got very high level grappling, 8-0 with the submissions. And I mean, he's trained with guys like Musumeci as well recently. Like, he is building himself up to get into that top 15 at some point. And when we look at Jim Miller, I mean, Jim Miller, like, he's durable as hell, you know, like, he's super durable. We saw him against Bobby Green at UFC 300. He's got the submissions there too. I mean, Chase Hooper, honestly, I'd say for a lot of people, probably wouldn't want to take that chance to submit Miller, but Chase Hooper would take that chance. But I just think before it even gets there, the literal difference in Chase Hooper's striking across the last couple fights has been fantastic. And for a 41-year-old Jim Miller, I mean, going against a guy that's got the reach, got the power, got the speed, got the output and accuracy advantages here, and the youth on his side, I think Hooper's getting the KO TKO here. I mean, granted, as I said, Miller is durable, but yeah, I think that might only be able to keep him for a round or possibly 2. And I think he's going to be getting finished by a KO TKO finish within the second half of the fight. And the big problem here, both of them are southpaws. So when it comes to that lead hand fight, Chase Hooper's so much faster. He's got a faster jab. I think he's just going to mince Jim Miller in that first round with the jab, and then he's just going to let those combinations fly and get him out of there. Moving up the card to Yan Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba, which is an awesome #1 contender fight at strawweight, because we do have a pretty clear clash of styles here. Yan Xiaonan, she has been looking fantastic recently. She absolutely destroyed Tabitha Ricci, completely outstruck her, kept it at distance, and just, yeah, minced her for 3 rounds. And she obviously destroyed Jessica Andrade and really started swinging the Weili title fight late at UFC 300. But obviously the first round against Weili, where she got submitted and the bell saved her, you put Jandiroba in that position where she is going to be submitting Yan Xiaonan, and Yan Xiaonan's not getting back up. Like, Jandiroba is the most vicious submission artist, definitely within that division, and arguably in women's MMA at the moment. And granted, she is older. I mean, she's only 1 year older, but when you get to that age range, every year does count. But she's just not showing it. I mean, she's dominated the last 4 fights she's had easily. And if this was a 5-round fight, I would be taking her by a submission. But regardless here, her wrestling anyway is going to be enough against Yan Xiaonan. I'm going to be taking a pretty dominant decision here. Now, on the feet, Yan Xiaonan obviously has the advantage. She's a better kickboxer, but Virna Jandiroba, she has a very nice, clean jab. She has a low output, but she's accurate. She is very good at stinging with the jab, and that can keep any fighter at bay realistically, because it stuns them. And that's when Jandiroba has the best opportunity to get the fight to the ground. And with what I've seen from Yan Xiaonan, when it comes to the ground game, I'm not confident against the best grappler in the division, to be honest. Yan Xiaonan definitely has the possibility of taking out Jandiroba. There is that there, but I think Virna is just simply too skilled. And I think she is going to be getting that title fight after this one. Moving up to Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson, and this, for me, is the most clear and obvious decision for me, and it will be a decision for Sean Woodson. Woodson has looked ridiculously impressive since he lost to Julian Erosa, and has been a lock for me pretty much ever since. I mean, Ige is dangerous, but the distance management is going to be a huge issue in this fight. I mean, he's going to get outpointed and he's going to get outstruck, because Woodson is simply the better boxer. I mean, he is a better boxer than 95% of the entire division anyway, and he's not even ranked. And that's literally aside from like Volkanovski and Ilia and Max Holloway if they were still in the division. And looking at this, with Ige having such physical disadvantages, it's going to be a problem because Woodson has a 7-inch reach advantage and a 6-inch leg reach advantage for teeps as well. And unless Ige is like swinging overhands for the fucking fences and clips him, it's just going to be a nightmare. I mean, Woodson has very, very good takedown defense, almost perfect statistic takedown defense as well. Like, he's almost at 90% basically, and Ige only manages like barely half of his takedowns. And at best, I see Ige getting like a power double, just throwing Woodson to the ground with pure strength and possibly controlling him through the first round. But Woodson is going to do a great job of just chipping away at Ige's body on the outside with the teeps, with timing his jabs to the body. I mean, he is just a fantastic boxer, and he's just going to cut through the gas tank at Ige. Is he going to take him out? No, no one takes out fucking Ige. So this, clear for me, I think it's going to be a 29-28 decision. But if Ige can't get off with that power double, it's going to be a 30-27 to Sean Woodson. Moving up the card to Nikita Krylov versus Dom Reyes. And for me, I don't know, it's just weird with Krylov because it's really weird that he is like 32 years old. I mean, he's been fighting since 2013, since he was 20 in the UFC. Like, he has been around a long time, and he feels like, I mean, because he's been very in and out, but inconsistent in his career. But the guy has improved in his career nonetheless. He is a finishing machine. And granted, he has been out recently with a shoulder surgery that he had in July of 2013 after he submitted Ryan Spann. But regardless, as much as I love Dominic Reyes on the other side, I just think the reborn career of his is going to stop here. Krylov, I mean, the only way I really see him losing this fight is he does have pretty poor strike defense, but he has a chin made of fucking granite. I mean, you look at his fight against Volkanovski in that first round, he got tagged like 30 fucking times and did not drop. And Ozdemir, I mean, we saw what he did to Johnny fucking Walker. He has got power, and Nikita Krylov did not go down. It's seriously, his chin and his heart and his stamina is seriously impressive considering how many damn finishes this guy has. He's got a 90-odd% finish rate overall with his wins. He is ridiculous. And ultimately, Krylov does string combinations together than Reyes anyway because of his karate-based mixing with the boxing combinations. So he mixes 4 to 5 piece combinations very well. And honestly, the only way Reyes is winning this is with a perfect counter shot. And there are clear openings, and Reyes does have power, but I can't rely on just a check hook. You know, I can't rely on just that counter striking to get him through this. I think Krylov has got the ability here, whether it's on the feet with his combinations and high volume or on the ground. He's 16-6 when it comes to submissions. He is very, very good. Cinched a beautiful triangle against Ryan Spann in his last fight. But I just don't think he even needs it. I think when it comes to the overwhelming pressure of Krylov in that first round with how bad Reyes' chin has been, I think Krylov is getting him out of there in the first round with a nice 4 to 5 piece combination, slumps him to the ground and gets the ground and pound finish. Moving up the card to Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Now, before I get into this, I highly recommend, after this video, that you check out my fighter spotlight videos on Patricio Pitbull, where I do a deep analysis on his career, his strength and weaknesses, as well as him versus the top 15 UFC featherweights in the other video on the screen as well. But to make it short and sweet for him against Yair Rodriguez, Pitbull is a prolific finisher, 24 finishes out of 36 wins, and he is the most decorated Bellator champion in history with slick BJJ and heavy power in his hands with good counter striking on the center line. But the center line is the problem here. He is great against non-dynamic fighters who are in his line of fire, and Yair is the complete opposite of that. He's a dynamic lateral moving striker with a longer reach and age on his side as well. And realistically, Yair should be taking this fight by outpointing Pitbull on the outside, and that's what I'm going to be going with, to be honest. I mean, you watch Pitbull versus Sergio Pettis, he struggled badly against the unorthodox kick-heavy striking, and Yair has all of those weapons and more that Pettis did show in that fight. And granted, if Yair either gets taken down or he doesn't move off the center line, Pitbull can not only win, he can finish Yair Rodriguez without a doubt. But Pitbull, like a lot of Brazilians, he's not the strongest wrestler, and Yair just, you're not going to rely on him just staying on the center line, which he basically never does. And ultimately, with the reach difference being that high as well, with a lateral moving striker, I just believe that Pitbull is not going to be able to get this one done, and I think he's going to be taking one step backwards from the title picture, and Yair is going a step forward. Now, oh my lord, have you ever seen so much autism in a matchup like this one? I am so keen for this. Bryce Mitchell versus Jean Silva. The build-up for this fight has been absolutely fucking hilarious. I mean, we've got all of Bryce Mitchell's controversial fishing takes. I'm not mentioning any more, otherwise this channel will never get monetized ever. And then we've got Jean Silva with the globe at the press conference, you know, just digging into Bryce Mitchell for being a flat earther and not believing in fucking gravity. And then we've got Jean barking at him, both of them arguing about who has the Lord on their side, when we've got Bryce Mitchell just, you know, being kind of a space cadet and Jean Silva having Lord fucking tattooed on his body. This is like, this is like a fever dream of a matchup, realistically. But this is going to be honestly an extremely entertaining fight. Like, I am so keen for this one. Probably the one I'm most keen for on this card. But I gotta say, sorry, Theo Von Jr. The Lord is definitely gonna be on Jean Silva's side on this one. And that's because Jean Silva, simply, his momentum, he has looked unstoppable at both featherweight and lightweight. He is ridiculously powerful, so good at darting in and out on the center line, has way more weapons on the feet than Bryce Mitchell. And when we look at Bryce comparatively, I mean, when it comes to the striking tools, he's a sitting duck there, realistically. Now, I know when it comes to Bryce Mitchell, in the MMA space, there's been a lot of talk about Bryce's takedown offense success against Ilia Topuria in the first round of their fight, which understandably is great. You know, he was able to get Ilia Topuria down, which is a very difficult thing to do. But is he going to be able to do the same thing against Jean Silva? Potentially, yes. I think he could get Jean Silva down, realistically. But is he going to be able to out-transition him and submit him within those 5-minute brackets? I just don't see it happening, because Jean Silva knows the only chance that Bryce has is on the ground. And Jean Silva, when it comes to his takedown defense, the guy is very springy, has a very wide base, and he is short as well, shorter than Bryce Mitchell. So Bryce will have to dig extra deep to get Jean Silva down, and ultimately I just don't see that happening. I don't want to rely on that. I mean, every single round as well starts on the feet, and that's where Jean Silva has a fantastic opportunity to absolutely shut Mitchell's lights out, just like Josh Emmett did. And we got to remember, Bryce Mitchell's chin is still affected by that without a doubt. And the only thing between the Emmett fight and this fight is Kron Gracie. And let's just not even worry about that fight, because Kron Gracie is nothing compared to Jean Silva. So that's where it's going to be a big issue. And you look comparatively when it comes to a shorter base of Jean Silva, and you look at a guy like Dan Ige. Dan Ige was able to stuff 10 out of 15 of Bryce Mitchell's takedowns. And if Jean Silva is doing that, he's going to knock Bryce Mitchell out. And that's what I see happening. And granted, you know, there's obviously each round starts on the feet, but I don't think it's going past the first, to be honest. I think Jean Silva is getting this done in the first round. Now, on to the battle of Dana White privilege. We have Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. And this is a very tough fight to pick. And I'm going to go a lot more into this matchup specifically in a hot take video that's going to be coming out very soon. But obviously, once again, it is a battle of whether Chandler actually uses an ounce of fight IQ or not, because Chandler is ultimately the better striker. He's quicker, has almost double the KO finish rate, and has the experience that just runs circles around Paddy's experience. But that all could mean a fucking fat load of fuck all, because if he decides to go gung-ho and tries to power double the shit out of Paddy and get him to the ground, Paddy is going to sleep him. He's going to submit him. But if this does go to the ground, that is where Paddy has to finish him, because I don't see him realistically outstriking Chandler for 25 minutes. Now, when we look at Chandler overall, he obviously absorbs a lot of strikes, but statistically, Paddy Pimblett absorbs about the same. And granted, Chandler, when it comes to his strike defense, it's not necessarily bad. It's just because he loves wildfires. He just loves getting into the absolute nutty, thick of it, bloody hectic fights. You know, we've got Gage, we've got Poirier, we've got Charles. Proof of the pudding. But when we look at Paddy, the problem with his strike defense is obviously the chin being raised. You know, he is actually trying to be more so defensively sound, but he has those fundamental flaws there, which we haven't seen fixed, because we've seen him obviously submit Bobby Green pretty much instantly. And aside from that, I mean, Jared Gordon catching him with left hooks, left, right, and center, it was not looking good. Now, on paper, I think Michael Chandler should be winning this fight realistically. And that's where I'm going to be taking Chandler by a KO, TKO in the 4th round. I think it's going to be coming in late, because we also haven't seen Paddy's 5-round experience, where Chandler's literally just jumping on his back with Charles on it twice in the 5th round. His stamina's fine. And when we look at Paddy, it's just an unknown. But I honestly will not be surprised in the slightest if we throw all of this out the fucking window and Paddy just submits him in the 1st or 2nd round, to be honest. I will not be surprised. But with the poor strike defense of Paddy Pimblett against the explosivity of Chandler, I see Chandler just really digging through around that 3rd or 4th round and getting the TKO finish here. Obviously, depends on his patience, whether it could be a decision win for him, but he pretty much has no fucking patience. So I definitely think that he could either outstrike Paddy Pimblett on the feet with volume and get the decision, or realistically get that KO TKO finish with the poor strike defense. Now, moving on to the main event that I am definitely not keen for, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. This is a hard one to watch. I mean, Diego Lopes is a super fun, well-respected fighter, and it's really hard to hate him, and Volkanovski is my lord and savior. So it's just a tough one to watch. I mean, my best case scenario is Volk winning a decision here, and do I think that that can happen? I do think it can, to be honest. There's a decent likelihood of it happening, but where my channel will become a fucking ghost town is when I suffer cardiac arrest after Lopes finishes Volk Ilia style in the 1st or 2nd round. That's going to be my worst way to die, and is that also possible? For sure. You know, I mean, Volk is amazing with his footwork and his boxing, but as we saw with Lopes against Ortega, the power that he has, but most importantly, the bloody lightning hand speed he has, that is where, I mean, Volkanovski, no matter how good he is with that footwork, he is the one in the danger zone in the 1st to the 2nd round. And that's where I am very much worried. But if Lopes is not getting it done within the 1st and 2nd round, which Volkanovski is going to be clearly aware of the hand speed and just the aggression that Lopes has, and it gets into the championship rounds, Diego Lopes is not getting the title. I mean, Volk has no cardio concerns. He has the better footwork, the strength in the wrestling in combination with that, and the submission defense as well. And granted, the wrestling is a bit of a concern, because when it comes to the pedigree of Diego Lopes' submission game being 12-0, but riding on that more so in the later rounds against Volkanovski, who is good defensively when it comes to grappling, and Diego Lopes' cardio just dropping, I don't see that being an option, to be honest, unless he submits him after hurting him in the early rounds. Aside from that, I don't see it. And that's where I think Volkanovski, with the best fight IQ in the game, I think that he is going to be able to win a decision. I think he can, realistically. I'm not just saying that because I'm being, biased. I genuinely am saying that because if he can ride through the 1st and 2nd round, he is the one that is more favorable. Realistically here, he's got the technical striking, he has got the footwork, he's got the defensive capabilities and attributes as well, and I believe that he can take a 49-46 decision, And when we look in the second round with Diego Lopes, I think that that's where he can steal around using heavy combinations after Volkanovski's just really outlanded him in the first. And from there, I do believe, I just don't think it's just going to be going Lopez's way. And that's where I think Volkanovski, he is going to be getting that decision win. Or if he really kicks off with the combinations and Lopez really starts slowing down, could be a 4th or 5th round KO TKO on this one, but I'm more inclined for the decision. Now, moving on to our fight card awards, kicking it off with fight of the night. Got to give it to Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. The Ball of Muscle versus the Scouser. I mean, both of these guys are never in boring fights ever. They're both allergic, and these two clashing together with the durability in a sense that they both have and just how fun they've been, this is going to be an absolute barn burner. Now, finish of the night, got to give it to the Lord, Jean Silva. I think Jean Silva against Bryce Mitchell. Kudos to Bryce Mitchell for taking this fight, but you know, it's ultimate risk versus reward for him, and I think it's going to be the ultimate risk because Jean Silva is just looking too good not to pick. Now, moving on to performance of the night, I got to give it to Sean Woodson. This was my most clear avenue for a win here because he is a very, very good striker at range, fantastic boxer against Dan Ige with all those physical disadvantages. And with the takedown defense that Woodson has, I just don't think Ige has the options, and he's going to be getting outpointed pretty clearly in this fight. Now, upset of the night, with the underdog that I've taken, I got to give it to Michael Chandler. It's definitely a scary fight to take, definitely a scary pick, because Paddy Pimblett could definitely submit Michael Chandler if he does make the mistake of wrestling, but if it stays on the feet and he plays to his game, he can get this one done. Now, the fighter to watch, I got to give it to Marco Tulio down the card, because Tulio, this guy is definitely a prospect coming up. I mean, he's got 9-1 with KOs. He looks very, very composed when he strikes on the feet. He's got decent takedown defense as well, and ultimately, yeah, he is just a very good fighter that you need to keep a lookout for. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's prediction and breakdown video, and if you want to see more MMA-based content, definitely check out the video on the screen, and please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.